Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, I am on the way out to Fort Worth, Texas to go to the USCCA Expo, and this is going to be an amazing event, and I hope to see you there. But while I'm flying out there, I want to give you the rough summation of what's happening with the election midterms and how our gun rights factor in. Now, my own disclaimer right here. This is still pending. The votes have not been fully cast. The positions have not been dedicated. Winners have not been declared. But as we sit right now, I'm going to give you a rough direction of where we're angling. And again, how that translates for our gun rights and that fight of which we do every single day, twice a day, for the Second Amendment and passing on to the next generation. I'm going to say a quick word from our sponsor, Established Titles, and then we're going to dive into this. I'm going to run you through what's happening, what we need to get to, and where we currently sit. The Established Title Packs give you 1 square foot of dedicated land in an estate in Edelston, Scotland, along with a certified crest like you see right here. This is based on a historic Scottish custom which will allow landowners to become lords or ladies, and if you act now, you can be in the LOA little plot so we can have our own little fiefdom. This is a fun and novel way to preserve the woodlands of Scotland. They work with global charities, One Tree Planted and Trees for Our Future to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially change your name to Lord or Lady and get it on your plane tickets and also on your credit cards. This makes a great last minute gift, and they have couple packs which you can get adjoining plots of land together. In order to give the ultimate conversation piece for that special someone, Established Titles is running a massive sale right now. Plus, if you use the code Langley, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/Langley to support the channel now. All right, so as I mentioned in the intro, brothers and sisters, we have got to talk about where the field actually lay. And now a personal thing, just please make sure you check that subscription because I'll be honest, I'm seeing some unusual activity on the negative side of the subscription for the channel, and that's unusual. So just check it, make sure it's good, and thank you for your consideration and your diligence. But right now, guys, we are sitting in a point where this is not even a red wave. This is not even a red trickle. It is quite literally a red ripple. I mean, if even that. We're in a point right now where the Senate is, well, I'll get to the Senate in a second. The House is slated, and this is just a probability, to barely go Republican. In order to get control of the House, you have to have 218 representatives. Currently, right now, the House of Representatives is slated, and this is tending in probabilities, not guaranteed, to go 224 to the Republicans. That is incredibly bad. Now, slight majority, that is advantageous to the Republican and the gun rights side of the argument, but the fact that that is even a potential possibility is insulting in its own right. We'll get into that later on, but currently, it's trending towards Republicans probably taking the House by a very slim margin. Now let's bounce over to the Senate. The Senate currently is extremely close. Ron Johnson in Wisconsin locked it down. You had all the holes that we needed to hold, and all the holes we needed to hold, like Ohio, Wisconsin, North Carolina. We lost Pennsylvania. That's an important one. Fetterman beat Oz. We know that incorporates the math pretty heavy. Then you go down to Georgia. Georgia is slated to be a runoff. We're going to come back to that in 1 second. Arizona and Nevada are still pending. Now, Nevada is actually trending in the Republican side, but more votes are still out. We got to figure it out. Should the Republican win in that seat, Adam Laxalt, you've got essentially a pickup for the Republicans and a pickup for the Democrats. We are now at 50-50. If Arizona, Blake Masters loses to Mark Kelly, you're sitting currently at the incumbent holding the seat. So again, 50-50, all coming down to Georgia, a runoff. And because that would be potential flip, it's going to be 51-49 whoever wins the race of Georgia. Again, the runoff will be in December. You're talking about roughly 2 to 3 weeks of nonstop energy of the entire nation, again, falling on Georgia. And since I live in Georgia, I can't wait for all the ads nonstop. But if Herschel Walker beats Warnock, 51-49 Republican. If Warnock beats Walker, you're talking about 51-49 Democrat. And that is the worst case scenario. Now, essentially, the way that this breaks down for our gun rights, and again, this is kind of all probabilities. If the Republicans take the House, you've got a majority leader in the House where you will essentially have the Republicans dictating which bills will and will not go to the floor. Even if you've got a slim majority and you're worried about Republicans jumping ship and betraying the Republican cause for gun rights, you still have to get past the leader and Speaker of the House, in this case, the Republican Speaker of the House. It hadn't been determined yet. That's why I'm not using the names. That's the House. If worst case scenario in the House, that flips away and Pelosi maintains power, then you're looking at the Senate. As you go into the Senate, two things can happen, assuming that House plays out like that. In the Senate, you've got 51-49 in one hypothetical of Democrats. You still have to overcome the filibuster, or you have to get rid of the filibuster. If they have the majority to get rid of the filibuster, which they technically already did, we're in a different world. That will be a situation that will not be a good look, because we've held off that filibuster change for about 2 years now. If you go 51-49 Republican in the Senate, you're talking about Mitch McConnell establishing what bills go to the Senate, what bills don't. The filibuster stays in place. All of those things, this all comes down to the two people in charge, either the House Majority Leader or the Senate Majority Leader. Now, as I said, it's a probability going towards the House, and it's a probability going away from the Senate. That's according to all the statistics, not what is going to happen. You need one of them. You get one of them, gun rights can kind of do a stalemate for the next 2 years, back and forth on a federal level. That doesn't mean that executive actions are not going to continue, but that does mean it's a stalemate on on federal level legislation. If you lose the House and the Senate, that's not a good look, especially since all the economic headwinds were going against Biden in this election, and still the red ripple occurred, if even that. I don't want it to be a blue bubble. But that's where we're sitting roughly, currently, as it sits right this second. Looks like we're going to take the House. Looks like the Senate is up in the air under a toss-up. It all comes down to how this last little stretch of the election shakes out, and then we'll analyze further and go from there. Thank you so much. I hope to see you at the USCCA event, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.